Okay, so for this particular station, we're going to be talking about verbs. Now, when we took our grammar check-in yesterday, verbs was probably the one that was most missed. And I'm not sure if it's necessarily because we've forgotten like our linking verbs and our helping verbs that we've memorized, or if something else is hanging us up, maybe like our verb phrases. It seemed like the majority of you understood the action verb and you were able to find it very, very easily. However, when it came to some of our helping and linking verbs, we missed many of those. And in addition to that, we missed a lot of our verb phrases. So that's what we're going to focus on today in this lesson. A word that shows an action or state of being is going to be our verb. So let's take a look at some examples. What are the different kinds of verbs? We have helping verbs, action verbs, and linking verbs. Helping verbs can really assist either action or linking. Think of the helping verbs as like the little brother or sister. They want to help out, they want to be around. So they kind of stick with either the action or the linking. Helping is not going to be on its own. It's always going to be tagging along with another one. So your helping verb is a verb that comes in front of another verb helping to complete its meaning. Okay. Oftentimes you see these in past tenses, I've come to find, or even present tenses like will do or something like that. Alright, so action verbs. These seem to be the ones that we really understand. So if we have an action verb, it's going to express a physical or a mental action. So things that you can physically do or mentally do. The next kind is the linking verb, and this is going to link a word in the predicate back to the subject. Okay, so typically it's going to be words like is or have or was. Those are going to be our linking verbs. Okay, she was mad. So remember, those predicates are going to show like expressions at the end. Okay, let's take a look at some examples. What you're going to do is you're going to need a highlighter for this. And the first thing I really want you to do is to kind of acknowledge any of the extra things. That could be prepositional phrases, that could be infinitives, it could be appositives, it could be verb phrases. And I want you to get rid of them, okay? Then I want you to identify the subject. Next, you're going to find the verb or verbs that show what the subject is doing. So if we look at this first one, to learn snowboarding, you must have patience. As I'm looking at that, I quickly notice that I have an infinitive on my hands. I have to learn, okay? I'm going to put brackets around this just so I know that that's an infinitive. And as I'm looking at that, I can really see that I have a verb, right? We know infinitives are the word to plus a verb. So I'm going to highlight that. It's my verb. That's an action verb. Now, snowboarding, this is a tricky one because I think many of us would want to look at that and say, oh, that's an action, that's something you can do. And you're 100% correct. Snowboarding is something you can do. However, the way it is being used right here in this particular sentence, it's not being utilized as a verb, it's being a noun here, okay? Your verb is learn. So what are you learning? You're learning snowboarding, okay? So you have to be aware of that. So that's not going to be a verb in this case. You must have patience. Okay, so when you're looking at this, you'll notice that have is going to be a linking verb. So we're going to highlight that one as well. Also, it will help to take private lessons. Okay, so it will help to take private lessons. So I have will help. That's going to be one set. So I know that that's going to be my helping verb. Helping is going to be a verb here. To take private lessons. So I have another infinitive. I have one here, to take. And I know take is also a verb. I'm going to highlight that guy. Alright, looking down at the next two, I want you to go ahead and do these two on your own. Make sure you have your highlighter and your pencil so you can make brackets. So go ahead and pause the video now, and then we'll go through and review before I set you loose on the last example. Okay, so we should have gone through and finished the last two up. It says, you should go to the lodge and take frequent breaks. So if you're looking at this, hopefully you've picked up the fact that we have to the lodge, okay? I'm going to underline this because this is a prepositional phrase, okay? So we have a prepositional phrase, to the lodge. You should go. So should go, those are both verbs. Should being my helping verb here, go being my action verb, and this is also going to be a verb phrase because I have two verbs in a row. And when I have two verbs in a row, that is going to be a verb phrase, so you got to be aware of those. Take is going to be another action verb. To the spectators, hopefully we kind of picked that up as being a prepositional phrase once more. The game was taking too long to watch. So the game was taking, I have a helping verb and I have an action verb, was and taking, too long to watch. So to watch, that's going to be my infinitive. Watch being my verb. Okay, now I also need to put brackets around this guy because I have two verbs in a row, which means it's a verb phrase. Okay? Alright, so that's what we should have had down for these last couple ones. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to follow the same format. So once again, with your highlighter and your pencil, you're going to go through and you're going to label your verbs. So make sure that you're labeling your action verbs, make sure you're labeling your helping verbs, your linking verbs, and you need to show me that you have verb phrases. Now for your verb phrases, I want you to use the same brackets that I showed you in the previous slide, these guys here, okay? So go ahead and get started. When you're finished with this, you're going to turn it into the tray in the back of the room. You're going to silent read and work on your Padlet until our time is up at the station.